Right now off the top, breaking news at noon. Welcome to Wavy News 10 Midday. I'm Don Roberts.
And I'm Cheryl Tan. The report is out on what went wrong with the potholes on I-264. Exactly 1 month ago today, we broke into programming to report a major problem on I-264 in Norfolk. Dozens of drivers getting flat tires after a heavy rainfall. Since then, VDOT has been under the microscope. Its district manager quit. Its contractors have come under question, and every pothole that opened since has come under scrutiny. Less than 2 hours ago, the internal report was released by VDOT Commissioner Gregory Worley during a teleconference. Our Andy Fox listened in. Andy, what did Worley have to say?
Well, Cheryl, it's what he did not say. He would not take any questions except to say he was using the teleconference to announce he's giving us the preliminary report. The report, prepared by VDOT's chief engineer, Garrett Moore, is written as if TME Enterprises will keep the maintenance contract. The most damning part is this statement, that the opportunity to prevent deterioration through preventive maintenance would have been 4 to 5 years ago. That's exactly when TME took over the contract, and it reads TME should have been aware of the existing pavement conditions. The major findings include TME failed to permanently patch potholes. TME should pay VDOT $200,000 for VDOT's cost of emergency pothole repairs after February 8th. TME should be more proactive. VDOT should simplify and expedite pothole repair procedures. VDOT Commissioner Gregory Worley would not comment on the report he was given, but when pushed by 10 on Your Side said,
"There are issues that I thought TME could have done some things better. I think there are some internal issues within the Department of Transportation that we could have done better. The report lays those items out, and we are going to try to work toward fixing those."
Gregory Worley in the news conference. We have now only on 10, Aubrey Lane. He is our member on the Commonwealth Transportation Board. He is a member. He just came here stuck in traffic. Now, I'm going to ask you about some of these recommendations, summary of recommendations. Number one, VDOT should be reimbursed for the pothole repairs the taxpayers had to pay the TME did not repair.
Well, first of all, let me say that I appreciate Greg Worley's efforts, the commissioner's efforts, and the thorough report. I think a lot of it speaks for itself. These were serious issues. They were identified, acknowledged, and he's got an action plan going forward. So I'd like to first acknowledge his efforts in that regard. In terms of payments to VDOT, obviously there was a review of the contract done, and if the commissioner believes that there should be payments, I would suspect that would be a contractual issue.
Aubrey, one of the really glaring things here is that for 4 to 5 years, permanent replacement of potholes was not done. That's the entire time TME had the contract. And the question is, should TME still have the contract?
Well, first of all, I think the condition of the road would verify that statement made in this report. One of the commissioner's responsibilities is to come back to the Commonwealth Transportation Board in March and give us a recommendation as to whether or not we should do this contract or the entire TAMS process to be reevaluated. And I look forward to the commissioner's recommendation in that regard.
Are you concerned that these potholes were not replaced permanently for pretty much the entire contract? That is what really sticks out to me.
Certainly, I'm concerned not only as a citizen, but as a member of the Commonwealth Transportation Board. But again, I have full faith in the commissioner. He's identified these problems. The governor has led on transportation. We have a long-term solution with the new funding policy. And so I look forward to the commissioner's report to the board as to what our action would be, whether we should rescind the contract totally, re-administer it, and that'll be up to the commissioner to give us a recommendation.
Do you have any confidence in TME from what you've heard about this and what I've just pointed out to you right here, that for 4 to 5 years, permanent replacing of potholes wasn't done? Do you have any more confidence in TME? There's plenty of people out there to do the work.
Well, as you recall, I was one of the first ones to bring this to the attention of the commissioner after that month ago pothole incident. It was also discussed prior to that. So in terms of having confidence going forward, obviously the commissioner has identified some real serious issues, and that'll be part of his report. I think he set the bar very high, though, in terms of what we're going to expect going forward.
Does Worley still have your confidence?
He certainly does.
So there's no doubt that
No
he
doubt.
might be taken out as part of this whole thing,
Absolutely
too.
not. The commissioner has the full confidence not only of me, but the Commonwealth Transportation Board, and I think based on this report, where it's acknowledged the seriousness of it, nothing was sugar-coated, he's put it on the table, I have full confidence he'll make the right recommendations.
Now, the report was done by Garrett Moore, who's the chief engineer, and he's taken it, and he's going to report to you on March 20th. What do you want to hear from him as to whether we keep TME as the contractor on this?
Well, he's going to have to, whether it's TME or any other contractor, give us assurances that only the contractor can perform, that the contract is written correctly. You know, there's an old axiom, if you expect a lot, you should inspect a lot. And that's going to be something I'm going to be looking for, that relationship back and forth between the contractor and VDOT to make sure that accountability is present and the standards that we're looking for is held up to.
And it might be that TME is recommended not to get the contract anymore.
That's certainly a possibility. Yes, that's correct.
And so we don't really know the answer to that yet.
Not until the commissioner gives the CTB his report in March and makes a recommendation, and then the CTB will then determine what action it will take.
Do you think TME should lose the contract?
I think there's a very high standard for any contractor. I think in this report it identifies the performance was substandard. So I think there's a high bar they're going to have to, I'm going to look for any contractor, particularly with the history of this, to determine whether or not it's appropriate to award another contract.
Can it be argued that TME should not get the contract anymore, that this is the punishment for that?
Well, I wouldn't call it punishment. The issue is whether or not the contractor is qualified to do what we ask him to do. And that's what I'll be looking for. Obviously, it didn't happen in this case.
Right, and you're going to be told that there was no evidence of any permanent replacing of potholes on a permanent basis for the entire breadth of the contract. That's troubling.
Obviously, it's troubling, and that will be one of the things considered when the commissioner gives us his recommendation.
Okay, Aubrey Lane, thank you so much. Aubrey Lane did such a great job getting here, and I know you had a tough time with the traffic out there, and thank you very much. So I've been talking with Aubrey Lane. He is our local member, the Hampton Roads District member for the Commonwealth Transportation Board, and I want to thank you very much, sir, for coming here and taking our questions. That is the latest. I'll have more coming up in our 90 minutes of news. I'm Andy Fox, 10 on your side.
Aubrey